Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Whew, sorry about that, folks. Let me just make sure we got everything going. Conscious Canuck, welcome. Derry Bennett, Wolf Glen, Conscious Canuck, Fina Colada, Ponder Monkey. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Michael Hassler. Sorry about the wait, folks. Got a little bit carried away doing dishes and whatnot. I hope everyone's doing all right. I hope everyone's staying warm. For us, at least, the big part of the cold is gone, so I don't suspect it to be very, very cold going forward. But for those of you folks that are more north, please stay warm. Welcome, everybody. DeSantis out of the campaign. Yes, we'll talk about that. Content, indeed. Fina Colada, welcome. I've been watching videos about Project 2025 and losing my mind. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and I definitely don't want something like that to be in something like that to be in effect, and that is purely on whether or not the Democratic Party feels that that is important enough. Intro dab, okay. There you go. Let me make sure I got everything ready. It is coming if Butcher Biden doesn't drop out, methinks. Yeah, and I don't think he will. I don't think he will. On a lighter note, I wrote a piece for piano that's over 5 minutes today. Nice. That's pretty cool. Researching psilocybin research to help me find my mind. You know, there is data showing that that could actually help, depending. You'd have to really look into it. Hate, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. That's right. Like the stream on YouTube. Subscribe to the stream on YouTube. Join the Discord before we get before we get started. Join the Discord. We are doing a movie night next Saturday, I think. Right, because next Saturday is the last Saturday of the month, isn't it? Yes, it is. So this upcoming Saturday, join the Discord. I will keep announcing this throughout the week. Kicking back, that's good to hear. Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle. Another Monday indeed. Another Monday indeed. I hope you're staying warm, Heat. All right, let's get this show started, folks. It's on the name. True. So I think this is probably the best or probably the story to start with, as we as we probably most of you already know. Ron DeSanctimonious, Meatball Ron, has officially ended his presidential campaign yesterday. Meatball Ron has suspended his Republican presidential campaign Sunday just before New Hampshire primary and endorsed Donald Trump. Yeah. Man. Just before the New Hampshire primary and endorsed Trump, ending a White House bid that failed to meet expectations that he would emerge as a serious challenger to the former president. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. Formally, yeah, he said in a video. I wonder if we can get the video. Yeah, there we go. Phenomenal stuff. The best news of the day? Yep. Maybe. But it is good news. The other thing though is that I'm calling it. I think this guy's gonna be the VP. I'm gonna make that prediction right now. I think this guy's gonna be the VP. If there is going to be a Trump Trump pick, this guy seems to fit the bill.
Greetings from Florida. The warmth of being home is a reminder why I've chosen public service. From joining the United States Navy and serving in Iraq to representing the people.
Doing what exactly? Hey, can we expand on that? No, we're not gonna expand on that because I have a feeling that that's kind of a important detail. There's like a little asterisk to I served in the Navy. It can't be. Trump and DeSantis are both from the same state. It's a rule. Oh, shoot. Did I mess myself up in my prediction? They can't? Shoot. I had to fire up a new prediction quickly. Three-finger pudding in DeSantis, gone. Success, Ron? Hope not. They will fight too much. Nah, they're endorsing each other. Well, there's no endorsing each other. DeSantis has bent the knee to Trump just like they all will. It's an unwritten rule, or is it like a rule? Because now I'm confused. Now you got me confused. I never heard of this before. But so here's I'll make it simple. If it is the case that they can, that if it is the case that it's completely legal, then my prediction would be that DeSantis is going to be the VP pick. If it's more of a procedure and doesn't have to be followed, there's no legal basis behind it, fine. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Trump will pick a VP that will provide conjugal visits. Is it a state law for Florida that two candidates cannot run from the same state? I don't know. It's in the Constitution? Like the Florida Constitution? I'm confused. Hold on. Let me unconfuse myself. Tough Amendment had to look. The U.S. Constitution, POTUS, and VP have to be from different states. Gotcha. Oh, well, I'll take my L. I'm gonna eat that one, okay? Okay, we gotta fire up a new, we gotta fire up a new prediction. If Ron got out this early and he's term limited in Florida, I wonder what his next job is. I have no idea. Things I'm learning today. Yeah, this one, I heard, I just wasn't sure, that was like a rule, but I'm gonna take that L real quick. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you're not a constitutional lawyer or anything. We we can let it slide. Yeah, but that's pretty that's pretty big L on me. I'm supposed to know these kind of things. Ron will move. I doubt that. It is more likely that Trump would move rather than Ron. But is Trump from Florida, or can he claim that he can be from New York too? I don't know. Like, can Trump claim that he's like from New York? People are predicting Elise Stefanik for VP, which seems likely. I think it goes by taxes, which state he files, which is definitely Florida. Gotcha. He fled New York due to prosecution. At least Stefanik, really? Now I'm at a loss. I don't know. Scary Lake? Like Scary Carrie Lake? Yeah, I'm just reading a couple things. She looks like she's all into the whole immigration stuff.
In the U.S. Congress, and now serving as governor of Florida. And it reminds me why I decided to run for president, to fight for those who have been forgotten in this country. This is America's time for choosing. We can choose to allow a border invasion, or we can choose to stop it.
Xenophobia. Hillary ran for Senate in New York by simply moving there, but I'm sure president is different. Yeah, I think this is different. Yeah, I think this is a different scenario. I wasn't even aware of that. Read and Rap, welcome. Or South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem? I don't know.
We can choose reckless borrowing and spending, or we can choose to limit government and lower inflation.
Yeah, so that's not the only source of inflation. Like, when we talk about inflation, it doesn't always mean that the government prints money and devalues the money by overprinting money. That's not always the case. That's not always the case.
We can choose political indoctrination, or we can choose classical education.
What does that even mean? Also, like, isn't what you're advocating for political indoctrination also? Or is it just the political indoctrination that you want? Yeah, exactly. We choose, not you. Heat with the one biddy. Minnesota girl, thank you for the follow. Welcome.
These choices are symptoms of the underlying struggle to ensure that constitutional government can endure and that Western civilization can survive.
Yeah, like this is like giving me heavy fash vibes. Ali with the 12 biddies, thank you. Ron DeSantis may have a history degree still. I don't know what he has in terms of education.
And we launched this campaign to bring accountability to government, regain sovereignty at our border, and restore sanity to our society. We cannot succeed as a country if we allow our nation to be invaded, our currency to be debased.
Yeah. So this is just xenophobic fascist talking points.
Our cities to crumble. And
dude, all cities crumbled, okay? No cities. There are no cities in the United States, okay? They're all crumbled. They've all crumbled. Yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing.
Our kids to be indoctrinated. The DC elites who facilitated this mess do not care about you, and they do not work for you. They work for themselves. They seek to accumulate power at your expense to pursue an agenda that is harmful to the American people. Citizens do not serve
I think you went to Harvard and got a law degree. Gotcha.
politicians. It is the duty of politicians to serve you. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, you know what? That's very true, Governor DeSantis. Hey, here's a question. What have you done for the state of Florida? And Bush to do, they all go through the motions. True.
Reversing the decline of this nation requires leadership that delivers big results for the people we are elected to serve.
Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle with 100 biddies to celebrate DeSantis dropping out. Excellent. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Minnesota girl with 100 biddies saying ditto. Thank you. Whew. A double whammy. Look at that.
I have a record of leading with conviction, championing an agenda marked by bold colors, delivering on
Championing an agenda marked by bold colors. What bold colors? What does that even mean?
my promises, and defeating the people who are responsible for our nation's decline. That is the type.
Bro, you're a governor of Florida. Oh, shoot. A hype train just started. The Ponder Monkey kicking things off with a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Rainbows. Yeah, I saw that Florida. Was it Florida that tried or is banning the pride flag?
Type of leadership we need for all of America. Now, over the past many months, Casey and I have traveled across the country to deliver a message of hope that decline is a choice and that we can, in fact, succeed again as a nation.
Decline is a choice. Yeah, the decline of Western Jesus Christ, like the fascist talking points. Heat with a 10 biddies. Thank you so much. Keeping this hype train going. They're trying to ban everything. Yep.
Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field.
Nobody worked harder to be a fascist. Well, they've kept me from going to Florida, and if keeping this sexy trans girl has had a Disney World was what Floridians wanted, I guess they've done that.
Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward.
Second place finish. Didn't Nikki Haley win second place? I'm confused. Honestly, Fina Colada, honestly, I don't blame you. I come from Florida. Look at that. Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle with a 5 tier 1 gifted sub, just taking us to the level 2. After high school, DeSantis studied history at Yale. He was captain of Yale's varsity team. He played outfield and was a senior in 2001. He had the best team's batting average at .326. DeSantis was a member of the Delta Epsilon fraternity of the St. Elmo Society and Yale Secret Societies while attending Yale. He worked a variety of jobs, including electrician, assistant, and coach. I'm going to miss Disney. I mean, it's honestly a lot of overpriced hype. DeSantis did go to Yale and got a JD from Harvard, as served as a JAG officer during the Iraq War. And wow, people covet an Ivy League education. I mean, shit, I'm not allowed in a woman's bathroom, but when people see me, they think I'm a cis woman. So, yeah, well, you know, transphobes and whatnot. In Florida, I wouldn't know what to do when I have to pee, which is often. Honestly, like those bathroom laws make no sense. Like, is there even a bathroom law in effect in Florida? And like, how would they know? Unless they're like doing genital inspections, like, how do they know? How would they even know? Makes no damn sense.
If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him.
What a freaking clown. I thought there is, but like aside from checking ID, there's nothing reasonable they can do. Exactly. And even that's a big heap of BS. Yep. I love how even Republicans find him boring. I mean, he is. He's got no, like, there's nothing here. He's like a robot. He's like a robot. I don't think there's any practical application, just hateful symbolism. Yep. Yeah, negative charisma. Exactly. He has a negative charisma role. It's almost a South Park episode, the gender inspection. I don't know. I didn't see that. Ron DeSantis is living proof a high-priced education doesn't make you smarter. True. Minnesota girl with 100 biddies. Whew. About to beat the last record. Look at that.
Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci.
Oh, man.
Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents.
Bro, you're all like pro-corporatism anyways. Amazing that listening to scientists less than the other guy is a good thing on the right. Yep. Allie with the 12 biddies, Heat with the 10 biddies. Gotta get DeSantis to drop out stuff more often.
The days of putting Americans last.
True.
Of kowtowing to large corporations, of caving to woke ideology are over.
Man. Can't let go of the woke stuff, even though like nobody cares about this, okay? And it's nonsense because like you do kowtow to big corporations.
I thank all of our passionate supporters who've stood by us through it all. That we had people volunteer to come to Iowa in the middle of a blizzard to knock on doors and make phone calls touched us dearly.
People literally risked their lives for me. If you had more flags, you would have won. True. My battery backup just passed its first test. Just had a power brownout and my computer and internet didn't even blink. Nice. Heat with the 100 biddies. Look at that. Moving on to level 3, I think. Is that how this works? Level 2 complete. Yeah, look at that.
No candidate had more thrown at him, but no candidate had so many committed volunteers and staff. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Casey, and our kids, Madison, Mason, and Mamie. Casey's gone far above and beyond in her support.
Okay, that's all I've got. No problem. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
For our campaign and for our cause. She's not only a great wife and mother, she's a great American who cares deeply about the future of the country that our kids will inherit. Our kids have seen and done a lot on the trail, from playing on the famed Field of Dreams baseball site in Iowa to making their first snowman in New Hampshire. They are one of the reasons we fight so hard for what we believe in. Winston Churchill once remarked that success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts.
Yeah, none of this happened. Okay. Churchill never said any of this. Cheeseburger Freedom Eagle with another gifted sub. Yeah, this isn't a real quote. This is still up, by the way. This is still up. Are there any even, like, community notes? No.
While this campaign has ended, the mission continues. Down here in Florida, we will continue to show the country how to lead. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, absolute clown show. How embarrassing. All this only to bow down to Trump. Just like they all will in the end, by the way. This primary is all but over. This primary is all but over. I wish Churchill's family would correct Trump and MAGA. I don't know if they're even aware of this. Okay. So, yeah, Nazis decided to walk out at the World Trade Center in New York. Yeah, this is disgusting. All these like fascist people. No, it says America's not for sale Zionist, and no Zionist in government. Now, these people aren't anti-Zionist, okay? Like in the sense that the left is anti-Zionist, in the sense that like, okay, you know, the hyper-nationalistic ideology. These people are just anti-Semitic. These people don't mean like anti-Zionism. These people just mean anti-Jewish people. That's what they mean. How did they not get punched in the face in goddamn New York? I don't know. We need to get control of our fascism problem. Yeah. Oh, look, the FBI boys are having a field day. They're using anti-Zionists to try to appear in line with the left. Yeah, or they use it... It's more like they use it as a shield. It's more like they use it as a cover, right? Like, oh, we're talking about, like, we're talking about anti-Zionism? Oh. Well. Can I interest you in this Nazi talking point? Like, that's how these are opportunists. These are opportunists. I don't even know if they like appear, like if they want to appear to want to be aligned with the left. It's really just opportunity. And the thing is, like, there are some people that will fall for it, but wonder if they each get a juice box and a cookie on the bus ride back, and if they behave on the field trip. Where I was going with this is that a lot of these comments are trying to say that these guys are just feds, which in reality, like, no, this is not some kind of, you know, op. Okay, this is not a psyop. These are just fascists. These are just fascists. And to answer your question about the juice box and cookie, apparently they had trouble. Apparently they even had trouble using like the subway system. The dude out front clearly has some little man syndrome coming on. Seriously though, how many are likely cops and firefighters? Oh, who knows? It's not. It's not out of the question that there's a lot of probably former and active like law enforcement. That would not surprise me. But to say that this was a purposeful op to make them look bad is yeah, you know.
For the life of our nation! Life! For the liberty of our people! Liberty! For the victory of the American spirit! Victory! Life! Liberty! Victory! Life! Liberty! Victory! Life! Liberty! Victory! Life! Liberty! Victory! Reclaim America!
Yeah. This is the kind of shit that we're watching in 2024, by the way. Nazi shit. It's cool souls have cosplay hobbies. They should stick to LARPing. They skipped a bunch of trolls for the subway system and didn't get arrested. Like, we can wonder why the rules don't apply to this Brigade of Gravy Seals. Meal Team 6. Fantastic stuff. In 2024, we have just fascist marching completely unencumbered out and about in New York City.
Without the truth, there's no light.
Then how about calling for a ceasefire in Palestine, since you giving them the weapons, you giving them the support, you giving them the money? Joe, why don't you do something about it?
The wonderful academic, activist, and television host Marc Lamont Hill gave a fantastic speech at a church, and I have to share a clip of this. But first, I got to give you some context. So in case you're not too familiar with Marc Lamont Hill, you should be.
Nice. So we reached a level 3 hype train, and we did fantastic. Thank you guys so much for the support. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This, ironically or coincidentally, came up yesterday in the video I did on Netanyahu's recent speech and his insane comments. But this story here, I just realized it's really weird seeing a large version of myself and then a small version of myself. But this story, so this is from 2018, when CNN fired Marc Lamont Hill for speaking up for Palestinians. And he used the phrase "from the river to the sea," which Netanyahu used yesterday to literally mean eliminating Gaza and all of its people and taking over the land. Meanwhile, Marc Lamont Hill used it in terms of equal rights for all, Israelis, Palestinians, in a one state. But that is the genesis of what we're going to talk about here, because last week, Joe Biden was speaking at the Mother Emanuel Church.
We should watch a video of you watching a video of David watching a video of you. When if I ever get that big enough that potentially one of my posts, clips, shorts, or anything like that, get reacted to, then yes, and I will do a reaction of the reaction to the reaction.
In South Carolina, and was protested. So I'm going to get to some reaction to that at the time, but first I want to show you a bit of that protest when it happened.
Without the truth, there's no light. Without light, there's no path from this darkness.
If you really care about the lives lost here, you should honor the lives lost and call for a ceasefire in Palestine.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
What an incredible moment for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, like that's so bizarre. Reactionception. Like that's so bizarre. Like how is it that the reaction to like, hey, maybe, and this is just like throwing this out there, but like maybe the deaths of tens of thousands of people is really, really abhorrent, and then the response to that is, we want 4 more years. I'm sorry, what? Imagine saying 4 more years to the response of like, hey, you know what? Maybe killing tens of thousands of civilians is bad. We should probably advocate for a ceasefire for humanitarian purposes. And then like the response is like 4 more years. You mean 4 more years of this? Like your response to the deaths of to tens of 25,000 civilians at this point. It's about 25,000. Is 4 more years? Maybe I'm the problem. I'm guessing most of those people are very apolitical or not that invested in politics. I mean, that's about as much. That's like the most charitable read, because I mean it's quite possible. It's quite possible. Bibi is getting so loud he'll drown out Biden. Well, no, he shouldn't be able to do that because we're the ones supplying the weapons, right? We're the ones supplying the funding here. Knows that my people have a problem here. This feels like very much how the election is going to go. Very divided on the left. Yeah, and I think that the issue here is that the libs are refusing to engage with this. They're just incapable. They're just incapable of like taking the right approach here. It's going to cost everybody, unfortunately.
So before I get to Mark Lamont Hill's speech that references
Bibi has money also, so we should cut ties with them, right? Why isn't, if that's the case, then he doesn't need us. Then why is the Biden administration refusing to cut ties with Israel until that government changes? Until that government changes, we need to stop. We need to stop giving them money, weapons, and we need to just pack up and go home. And Biden just can't do it. He just can't do it. He just can't make one simple phone call. Spineless coward.
that moment. Just looking at what happened there, the protesters standing up and fighting for the rights of Palestinians while Joe Biden is speaking about the importance of truth and getting out from the darkness. You'd think if a leader cared about the importance of truth and getting out of the darkness, you would care about what's happening to Palestinians right now in Gaza. And not even just Gaza, to be fair, also the West Bank. What's been happening in Gaza and the West Bank for decades. You'd think this president would care. But instead, his administration is supplying the far right-wing Israeli government with endless amounts of arms. Now, the reaction from the crowd is incredibly embarrassing. Chanting 4 more years as they're being escorted out. I mean, you can't find a more embarrassing moment than that. It just, this willingness just to give completely into power, not criticize anything, not, you know, I understand wanting to allow Biden to continue his speech and not just shutting down the whole speech because of protesters, but to not at least sit for a minute, think about what they're talking about, think about what they're fighting for.
Bibi's also facing corruption charges. Yep. That's why he's trying to start shit in Lebanon. That's why he wants to expand the military actions of Israel to keep himself into power. And yeah. President Biden didn't make a phone call but did not sanction Israel. No, he didn't. He didn't make the phone call. I'm talking about Biden getting on the phone and telling Netanyahu that that if he doesn't stop, then all aid, money, military, everything will just be cut off completely going forward. He hasn't done that. He hasn't sat Bibi down. He hasn't sat Netanyahu down and said, you know what? You need to make this work. Everybody else is ready. Everybody else is ready to make negotiations or to start negotiations. The Biden administration doesn't feel enough pressure to even consider pushing for a ceasefire. It's not about morality. I agree. Hopefully sooner Bibi leaves too. Hopeful. Well, it doesn't matter what, like, it matters what we do. It matters about our government doing the right thing. And right now, they're too cowardly. Right now, the Biden administration is they're just too cowardly. They've got no spine. Zero. They're just incapable of telling the Israeli government no.
Empathize, understand the actual situation, understand who you're standing in front of. It's this desire to always give into power and make the person, you know, in this case at the podium here, feel comfortable as opposed to challenging him, because Biden holds a lot of power over the situation in Gaza. It's not as if this is just out of his hands. No, he's He's actively enabling and helping Israel commit the crimes they are committing. Now, I want to just quickly, because I want to get to Mark Lamont Hill's.
And this is very true because, again, the analogy that I used the other day is you knowingly selling a weapon, you knowingly selling a firearm to a criminal makes you responsible. It does. It does make you responsible. Now, to what degree? Not obviously, you're not the one directing the criminal to use the firearm, but you gave it to him. Okay? You are responsible. You are complicit. So the same applies. If you're the one selling weapons to your so-called ally, and they are committing war crimes with them, you are responsible. You have you have responsibility to say, whoa, hey, you can't be doing this, and immediately stop giving them weapons. According to Congress, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Yep.
Speech, of course. But just quickly show you this headline here, and I'll get to more from this piece after the video. But this was posted on MSNBC, surprisingly. It's protesters, not politicians, who keep the history of Mother Emanuel AME alive. Writing here, and to be clear, this is to give credit to Ken J. Mackin, writer and host of Making a Difference podcast, saying, what's more appropriate in the sanctuary of Emanuel AME, the head of the government making a campaign speech, or people yelling out for the freedom of people who were oppressed? So again, I'll get to more of that context in a bit, but I want to get to Mark Lamont Hill's speech. So just, he writes here, last Sunday, St. Sabina Church welcomed me to deliver their annual Martin Luther King Day message. As always, it was a blessing to be in such a beautiful space of radical love and beloved community. I did my best to link my words to the legacy of MLK by challenging empire, calling for justice, and demanding action from all of us. Check this out.
This marks the potential start of a third world war, and we will soon be hit with a silent, untraceable attack on America.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Nice ads, YouTube. Words are imperfect and can be twisted.
I was a bit struck last week when I saw that they opened the pulpit up to Genocide Joe. Y'all can get mad, I don't care. And people, as he began to give his campaign speech, some protesters stood up and said, "Stop the blood in Palestine." They said, if you're outraged by the blood of Selma and you're outraged by the blood that was spilled in this very church, then how about calling for a ceasefire in Palestine, since you've given them the weapons, you giving them the support, you giving them the money? Joe, why don't you do something about it? They marched and stood up and got kicked out of the church, and people said, we're outraged.
Yeah, and like that, by the way, that's like the most bare minimum, like that, and that's not even like a big ask, okay? That's not even a big ask, okay? To say, you know, no more weapons, no more funding going from, you know, here on out. We're packing our stuff up and going home. Good luck. That's not even a big ask, okay?
You know, I was outraged too. Yes, sir. How dare you use this sacred space? How dare you use this beloved pulpit? How dare you use this sacred tradition? How dare you use the words of Jesus, who overturned the tables in the temple, who was committed to overturning a Roman government, who was committed to speaking out against injustice? How dare you use this space as a shield for imperial war? How dare you use this space as a shield for violence? How dare you use this space as a shield for genocide? Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. the moral atrocity that took place wasn't some disruptive protesters. It was the fact that you allowed the leader of the most violent and bloody empire in modern history to stand in this place and represent a tradition that he ain't got nothing to do with. How dare you?
This speech is incredible, as it helps to reframe where your rage should be directed to. Because there was a lot of anger, a lot of discussion around these protesters protesting Biden at a church. Should they do that? Is that the right thing to do? Are they going to get people on their side by doing that? How about looking at, why is Biden even there? What has he been doing recently? And how do those words that he was speaking there about, the importance of truth and fighting for humanity, how does that contrast with what he is doing with his actual power? Because words are one thing. It's great to give a nice speech. It's another if that speech is completely empty.
Yeah, that's true. You can't talk about peace and all this other stuff. You can't talk about peace and democracy and all this, which I agree with. But he's not. The actions here are not lining up. How is it that you can talk about peace while you provide weapons? How can you talk about democracy when you support a supposed ally that is acting undemocratically? I mean, would you how can we hold these two things both? How can we say both we respect democracy, but have allies who don't respect democracy? You can't complain about, Trump's subversive nature while also giving complete cover to a person doing the same thing.
And you are currently funding a genocidal right-wing government in Israel. Just the fact that CNN let this guy go, the fact that MSNBC let Mehdi Hassan go, canceled his show, it shows you these established powers do not want to hear the truth. They don't care about actual truth. They don't care about actual human rights. And I know this is not news to most of you watching. You're all well aware of this. But in case you weren't aware of this, these are the voices that need the largest platforms. People that are willing to fight for the rights of those that have no voice. That's what Mark Lamont Hill does. That's what Mehdi Hassan does. These people that had prominent positions, or Mark Lamont Hill's, I don't believe he had his own show, but he was still, a contributor to CNN. But people that had these positions on platforms with a lot of viewership, at least, nationwide viewership, losing those platforms because they spoke truth to power. They got a little too close to the truth. And when it comes on this issue, to this issue specifically, when it comes to the rights of Palestinians, this is one that really animates those in power. Now, I want to end on a couple of quotes here from, again, this fantastic piece by Ken J. Mackin, where he gives some context for the church that Biden spoke at. So as the history on its website proudly proclaims, the AME denomination is the result of a protest from Black Methodists who weren't being treated equally by white congregants. Denmark Vesey, a freed man, joined the AME Church in 1817 and planned a slave rebellion in 1822 at Mother Emanuel. Vesey was executed by hanging, and the church where he plotted the attack was burned to the ground. Instead of being remembered for its history of radical protest, the church has been a refuge for politicians to score points. Biden was at Emanuel in the first place in an attempt to appeal to black voters who, according to poll numbers, are growing cool to his candidacy. One should never be upset about people protesting for what's right at Mother Emanuel. The church's existence, especially after its original building was reduced to ashes by the ruling powers, is a testament to the necessity of protest. time is not going to look very kindly on Joe Biden's partnership with the far right-wing Israeli government. And yes, this has been, a relationship that precedes Joe Biden, of course, but there has never been a more clear example of what Israel has been committing against Palestinians than what has been going on these past few months. He is clearly on the wrong side. And by the way, we shouldn't need time to see this. I'm referencing time in the sense of what the established thinking will clearly come to realize, I guess, in the years to come, and just how much of a disaster this current administration is, especially in regards to their foreign policy with Israel and Gaza. But this is another example of how disconnected Joe Biden is from people, and really how far right-wing he is. Look, this is not, I feel like I have to keep doing this because I read the comments, not all of them, but I see some of them. People have this one-track mind, this inability to understand a critique without assuming you are supporting the other side. I am just looking at objective reality. I criticize all politicians, regardless of what party they align themselves with. Where my center is human rights, fighting for people.
True. Since Biden professes to be Catholic, his belief system recognizes the concept of having your sins wiped away by confessing to a priest, receiving divine absolution from God through a priest. It's likely what allows him to keep behaving in such an immoral manner. I can't say, but let's just say that makes sense. And that should be a clear indication that these liberals will end up siding with their far-right fascists when the time comes, which may not be that far away. Scary, scary, scary stuff. Sorry, scary thoughts. David loves Trump. True. David criticizing Biden automatically means pro-Trump.
Actually matters when it comes to issues of whether it's human rights in the Middle East, whether it's healthcare, whether it's wages, where people should be focused. That's what I am concerned about. So don't take any criticism here of Joe Biden as some endorsement of Republicans in any way, because yes, of course, I'm very aware that it would be just as bad, possibly worse, if that's possible, under a Republican president, specifically on this issue. It'd be worse generally under a Republican. Of course, no denying that. But this is not on... It doesn't matter what I say here. Like, people have this idea that, because I'm not just 100% for Joe Biden, then that means that Trump's going to win. I don't have... If I had that kind of power, I don't know. I'd be doing a lot more. I'd be doing different things. I don't have...
Also, David's Canadian. Went to a private Catholic college for computer science.
Have that power. My voice here is for people to understand that this is on the Biden administration and the Democratic Party to change what they are doing. People have to put pressure on their own representatives in the party to put some pressure on the administration to change what they are doing. Not just for the obvious benefit of human rights, of people that need the help, but also if you care about the future and you care to continue to have, a democracy, because we're all very aware that Donald Trump has no interest in democracy. If you care about keeping democracy, then you should be very concerned about what Joe Biden has been doing, the side that he finds himself currently on, which is, again, with a far right-wing government in Israel.
Yep. Cool. Man, what normal times, huh? I shared my Catholicism when I was 11, but I had to wait until I was confirmed at 13 for my parents to accept that. That's interesting. Why? What would the difference be?
Well, it turns out that Marjorie Taylor Greene, like most Americans, is already sick and tired of the Republican primary, and she is ready for everybody else to drop out so that the GOP can go ahead and coronate Donald Trump as their God King. Here is what Marjorie Taylor Greene...
I mean, to be fair, at this point, like, first of all, that's absolutely how the Republican Party thinks. How conservatives think. Second of all, the nomination or the primary, the Republican primary, is effectively over. The Republican primary is effectively over. Confirmation allows you to make your own religious choices by tradition. What? That's interesting. You see, I did this. I'm pretty sure I did this. And I just didn't know what that was about. Okay. I'm pretty sure I went through confirmation. Oh, what about Haley? She's done. No chance. She's done. Not a shot. Like, there's some encouraging numbers that she might pull off a victory in New Hampshire, but she's done. It's gonna be Trump. It's gonna be God Emperor Trump. Okay.
had to say to reporters from Raw Story when they called up with her in a tunnel, in the Capitol where they kind of go from room to room. But Raw Story reporters caught up with her and asked her, should everybody drop out? And Marjorie Taylor Greene...
Should everybody? I don't know, like, when this was made, 9 hours ago. Everybody? You mean just Nikki Haley? The very first Republican primary showed they were all going to be pointless. True, I imagine this is what everyday life felt like for the average person like ourselves leading up to the fascist Nazi takeover in Germany, and then what followed. It's, it's a scary thought. It's a scary thought, but I have made that comment, before. In fact, I made it in one of my very first live streams. The parallels between the Weimar years, the parallels between the Weimar years, is uncanny. It's unsettling. Mouselander, welcome. Margarine gangrene. Yeah, I mean, you could tell, like, where this was going from a while. Do I even still have this playlist? I don't even know how this works. Going through these names because I mean, just take a listen.
Globally. Oh, they have a word. I look.
Him going off the rails. You know, somebody let him out of his home or something. But this guy is obvious. That was an obvious lie, by the way. But it's just creepy the kind of stuff this guy says, and I don't think even he himself understands it. Or maybe he does. I don't know. But the reality is, we have come to a crossroads, and we need to decide where we want to go as a country. This was back when there were 17 subscribers 4 years ago. Look at all that pretty hair. Oh, it's still here. It's just under the beanie. It's still here. Memo for the record, who cares what Trader Green has to say about anything, let alone a private party primary? I told y'all there is there is video evidence, if you look for it, of how I look without what's a peek under the beanie. Okay. This was back in the day when I had a one when I was at my first apartment, and yeah, you could tell yeah, just like Tim Pool. Just like Tim Pool. The beanie ate the hair. Oh, it's still there. Yellow King with a tier 1 sub for 37 months. Thank you so much. Those curls are giving. Oh yeah, no, they're still there. They exist, and it's about the same size actually. I keep my hair. Ooh. Looks like it flickered there. The power kind of flickered. I usually keep my hair, like, honestly, it's about this length, more or less. And if you notice, I have my bow of the fifth column shirt. So, anyways, the ending of that stream is just basically me saying, like, this is creepy how much of a parallel we have from the Weimar years, and just using Trump as an example, and what he represents. And basically, at this point in time, 4 years ago, is when those crossroads had to be decided. And I gotta say, I'm not particularly confident as to I'm not particularly confident as to which road we decided to choose. And the history is very clear on how these type of things formed and what were their results. Do we really want to go there? Is that really what we are? It's really up to us. And all we have to do is just take a deep look inside ourselves and decide, now that we're at a crossroads, which way we're gonna go. Yeah. 4 years ago. Naive. Did I even put, like, what I was reading from? I would say 2 March has power, so we have to pay attention. Unfortunately, she does. Is that?
And also to illustrate the
Oh yeah, I do have my little.
the parallels of what's happening. Okay, so the common characteristics. So it's interesting. They basically
Who that young dude? Yeah, who's that naive young fella talking about how we could possibly have a situation where we can actually look deep into ourselves and choose the right thing? Who's that naive dude who thought that there was a chance? When probably now, hindsight is 2020. Now probably in hindsight, those wheels were already moving way before. I just caught the alarming side of things, where I started to notice how these things start to play out. Yeah. Anyways, all this to say is that I agree with you, Firefly. Find a video from like 2.5 years ago so I can read the chat that I left. I was drunk a lot. I think on our 10-year anniversary we can scroll through like old streams. I mean, how many of these do I even have here? What I used to do is I used to put all my live streams into that same playlist, and like, because I just don't have the time, I like stopped doing that. Yeah, best of. Clip it. I was drunk a lot. If the proletariat didn't have to work 90 hours a week to survive, we could probably start to get some change. Yeah. Maybe. I wonder what system that is that has us in this position.
Excuse me, said, totally, they need to drop out. And then, when the reporter asked, okay, well, Nikki Haley, I mean, she's got a little momentum heading into New Hampshire, Green said, she is going to lose so big, it's not even funny. She's not a real candidate. Okay, fair enough. What about Ron DeSantis, they asked. And she said, they reelected him for governor, and then he went around running around the country trying to run for president. That's not a good thing. I mean, I agree it's not a good thing, but then again, like, oh, they reelected him, then he ran for president. Like, yeah, literally everybody knew he was going to run for president, Marge. You shouldn't act shocked. But here's what kills me about Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement that everybody else should drop out so that Donald Trump can go ahead and just secure that nomination. We've had one contest. We had the Iowa caucus a week ago. Okay. We've got,
yeah, and like a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but like several people dropped out in comparison to how many were running. Like, several people dropped out. Tomorrow is the New Hampshire primary. I think it's over after that. I think it's done. Like, if Trump manages to win New Hampshire, I think she'll just drop out that same day or tomorrow, the day after, I should say. Only people left are Trump and Haley. Exactly.
Got dozens and dozens of more states that still need to vote. I mean, if we're just basing this solely on the results of the Iowa caucus, let's not forget that in 2016, Donald Trump didn't win the Iowa caucus. Were Republicans all going around saying everybody needs to drop out and just endorse Ted Cruz at this point? No, they weren't. They said, let's let the whole thing play out.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, again, this is not even close to the same primary, and this is not even close to the same primary, and like, there's literally only 2 people left. Her home state is next after New Hampshire. She will lose that and then quit. Fair enough. This has been over since Trump announced. True. They've run for president is over 300 million. That's wild. Trump won because the media kept his name and focus on him in 2016. That's a part of it, yes. In fact, there's one debate where he didn't realize it, so a good thing, and even mentioned how every question was directed at him. So again, this piece passes unnoticed, and the stream does not even know how Trader Green said anything until Ross Story wants to make money off the spectacle. I mean, to be fair, I'm mostly like commenting on U.S. politics, and this happens to be part of the primary that's going on. I think the calculation from our camp will be if Trump gets convicted, they need legitimacy of the delegates they'll receive to make a stand at the convention. I suppose, I mean, like, save for an act of God, it's gonna be Trump, right? Like, let's say that he does get convicted. He could still run. There's nothing preventing him from running. I mean, unless the Republican Party decided to kick him out. I don't even know how that works. It's not going to work, but I think the corporate wing of the Republican Party still has an illusion that the party will come to its senses.
I mean, isn't Donald Trump, and you also, by the way, Marge, lots of other Republicans out there telling us that you can't remove Trump from the ballot. You have to let the voters decide. And yet here you are saying that we can't let the voters decide. We just need to go ahead and make Donald Trump the king of the Republican Party. And for the record, it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here is what Republican Majority Whip Tom Emmer had to say. We need to unify. The number one thing is you cannot allow these extreme radical left Democrats, including the White House that's proven completely incompetent, to remain in power. So even Tom Emmer, who again, Donald Trump tanked his chance of becoming Speaker of the House, says we got to unify behind Donald Trump. Okay, well, here's another one from Representative Richard Hudson, Republican from North Carolina, who said, Raw Story asked, should they get out so the party can unify? And he said, yeah, definitely. The American people understand Trump's policies made them safer, made their lives better. Really? I'm going to go ahead and say no. Like, literally none of that happened.
True. Technically, suspending a campaign doesn't mean disbanding a campaign. It can be resumed if needed. True, but, you know, to me it sounds like it's done. To me it sounds like it's done. Why care about private parties and give them time? Focus on Joe, Cornell, or the other socialists. More airtime for people you like and not dislike. That's a fair point. If something happens to Trump, though, yeah, I mean, I guess save for an act of God. I mean, you know, like even, I wonder if it's even worth staying in the race. I wonder if it's even worth staying in the race at all, just based off that one hope that something happens to Trump.
We were headed for a recession even before COVID. He made the lives of the rich and powerful better. But for the average American, our lives got so much worse in ways that we could have never even imagined. Then, of course, you have Representative Jim Jordan, who says, I thought it was over before it even started. Listen, again, we've had one contest. Nikki Haley does have momentum, and sure,
When Trump passes away, every city will have will get 6, I think.
she came in third. I wouldn't necessarily call that momentum, but pundits call it momentum. We'll call it momentum, right?
So in a hypothetical for a double whammy, Biden having a stroke and then Trump getting the news and also strokes out.
But we've had one contest. Anything can happen. We've got Trump trials that are still technically on the schedule before most of the vote.
Yeah, but see, this is where I disagree. Like, yeah, anything can happen, sure. But like by that logic, it's like anything can happen. Yeah, the world could end tomorrow. I don't know. How about we just deal with the hands that we're dealt with right now? Is it possible that Trump, an act of God happens and Trump is out? Yeah, it's possible. But we don't know that. We don't know that. I only intend positive, and I hope you don't take my points about your stream in a bad way. No, I don't take a lot of things in a bad way. Impromptu celebrations in downtowns like after 2020 was called. Yep. But I think it would be even more.
Voting even happens. Like, can we let the process play out? Republicans say no, we can't. I mean, the one Republican who said, yes, we should is Ralph Norman, who said, we just had the first one. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not right for me or anybody else to call for anybody to get out. They can do it. I don't listen to that. The great thing about our system, you get on the ballot, let the voters decide what they want. You win or you lose, and you either move forward or you go out. Like, that's the correct take. But
it's good to consider other possibilities, but not to dwell on them too much, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, like, what's possible and what's probable, and where are we looking at in terms of like the reality of the situation, right? The reality of the situation is that it's most likely going to be a Trump versus Biden race in terms of like the major parties, right? All other parties have submitted their candidates, and I think that's pretty much set. But the point being is that I mean, is it possible? Yeah, sure, anything's possible. But what's probable? What's likely? There's no point. Well, I'm not saying there's no point, but it seems, not to put it harshly, but it seems like a waste of time to think about possibilities that you just don't know. You just don't know. You don't know. You don't know if Trump is gonna kick the bucket. You don't know if Trump is even going to get convicted. It just seems silly. It's a terrible motto. That's funny. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Yeah, there you go.
By the way, so kudos to Ralph Norman on that.
Even if all state primaries and caucus pass, they can still do a kind of national caucus at the DNC or RNC conventions if needed. Best not to dwell. Yeah, I suppose so.
But Donald Trump has a lot of baggage. If you want your entire party to unify against him right now, at a time when your party doesn't have any money, Democrats just raised $97 million in just the third quarter of last year. Democrats are sitting on over $100 million. State Republican parties are going bankrupt. You'll want to unify behind Donald Trump right now. What happens? The Democrats, with their massive campaign war chest, just start running ads against Donald Trump, and they do it for the next 11 months. So unifying around a single person right now, as opposed to letting several simmer out there.
Well, it's less than 11 months
helps
now.
The Democrats. So if you want to push for everybody else to drop out, I'm not going to stop you. But you need to understand that that means that Donald Trump is the only person with the spotlight on them. And based on historical precedent, that never ends well for your stupid little party.
Maybe. Maybe. Hopefully. But you know what? We just don't know. What else is there to discover about Trump that would actually change anyone's mind, to be honest? Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, if. We just don't know. And if we have learned anything, is that when, Democrats decide to be, not naive. There's a word for this that it's completely blanking out. It's not naive. It's underestimating. That cost them the 2016 election, among other things. The real fireworks will start if no candidate gets the majority of electoral votes, RFK, or whoever takes the electoral votes. Oof. Maybe. I don't know how much that's going to impact. The electoral college votes, yes, but that's based on, that's based on the popular vote of the state. The important swing states are what make or break the election based on the are what make or break the election based on popular vote in those states, which create the electoral votes to swing, which is why they're called swing votes, one way or another, or swing states. Trump also wants immunity from prosecution for his crimes. True. Yeah. We need a strong Republican Party. The sad part is that that's what Trump wants, sole possession of the limelight. Trump also wants immunity from prosecutions. Yep, no one outside the two parties is winning a state in the general. I could see that. Yeah. So I think that it is naive to think that the Republicans are just done. The unpopularity of both candidates is a good opportunity for a third party, but there just isn't one position to take advantage. Is she running again? Yeah, I think so. Because I thought wasn't West the Green Party candidate? And then he moved to another. I'm so confused as to how this is at this time. Things are so polarized that a third party will only hurt one side more than the other and just give that side the more opposed to them. Or whichever third party that has the most ballot access. West was going to run. Jill will probably be the Green nominee. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm voting for the Libertarian. I'm voting for the Libertarian Party only so that I can I know what I must do. I'm gonna vote for the Libertarian Party only so that I can claim that I voted for the Libertarian Party, so I can call into the majority report. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh, West is independent. I would no longer vote against something, only for something. I'm not knocking that. The third party would need a war chest of hundreds of millions and a ground game of tens of thousands to even get their foot in the door. No labels will probably spoil it. You think so? Like, is that sarcastic? Because, like, to my understanding, no labels is, like, literally nothing. Voting not Biden in primary and not Trump in the general. Life sucks. I'm definitely not voting for Biden in the primary. Spoilers in something that exists, that is two-party framing. Stop buying the two-party framing. Unfortunately, the two-party system does make this go. I believe they are getting on the ballot in the swing states. Oh. Huh. Well then. I thought there was a joke. Like the People's Party. El pluribus unum, one out of many, not out of... It is el pluribus unum, out of many one, not out of many two. True. Yeah, the problem is, we have kind of let it, right? There's no such thing as spoiler candidate, just people who don't like running. Just people you don't like running. The House is so divided that if a few independents win, they could split the vote and run the House. Now there's a thought. That is probably a more viable path. I would see that as a more viable path than seeing at this time a multi-party system in the U.S. Doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for a more democratic process, but I'm saying that with the cards being dealt, it is more likely, or more rate of success that route than it is expecting the party systems are gangs, and gangs doing dangerous things to protect their interests. That is why the R&D work together to make sure it is only them two. The real dance is the American problem. Parties. I mean, yeah. Specifically, the fact that they have so much influence and power, they would like to keep that. And it's what is it? It's a not a closed loop. It's called a not a closed loop. It's called I'm blanking out. Yeah, a feedback loop. There you go. Yeah, a feedback loop. That's what it is. Match on to you. How do you attack party mindset? I don't know. I don't know. If your objective is to break the two-party system, the first thing that comes to mind is you need a grassroots ground game, and you need to do this in a state-by-state basis. You need to do this in a state-by-state basis, and you need to have a large enough ground game to push for ranked choice voting. That's one avenue, because if you can get ballot initiatives to pass that would put ranked choice voting, then maybe it provides an avenue where third parties are more, or different parties are more viable. Because the alternative would be, like the simulacra pointed out, you just need a whole electoral system, and how do you even begin to do that? I don't know. But I know that it's possible for ground movements to get together, organize, and get ballot initiatives for ranked choice voting. I mean, it's a avenue to attempt to break the duopoly. Ranked choice voting does not seem to be gaining. Well, has there really been a big push for it? Not really. But if there is, I would suspect that if, especially since people are so disillusioned with both parties, maybe with a good ground game, you can start chipping away state by state by state, and all of a sudden, it's not as easy, or rather the opposite. It's easier for third parties to become more viable. Is it a guarantee? Nah. But it's definitely a way. It's definitely a way. It would certainly make people feel more engaged. It would certainly make people feel like they could participate more. If you saw on the ballot, like, okay, you have your Democratic nominee, you have your Republican nominee, you have your Green nominee, you have your whatever whatever your party, whatever their parties have formed, you could potentially have representation by winning a ranked choice battle. I'd back a purple progressive party. Nice. That is a very good first plank of the anti-party program, local ranked choice propaganda by deed. It's feasible for anything except the presidency due to the combination of electoral college and first past to post. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a way, because if you start having the ability of third parties becoming a little bit more of a thing in local, state, and federal places, it's a start. It's a start. I just don't know. I just don't know how you would break it completely without, like you said, an entire new electoral system. All right, folks, we got two more stories really quickly. Supreme Court allows federal agents to remove razor wire Texas placed at the border. If you get a third party with sizable representation in the House, then attacking the presidency becomes more viable since the House chooses the president if no one gets 270. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. If you could get more states to operate and elect their representatives in this fashion, it becomes more viable. And all of a sudden, it's not, they don't have the same, Republicans and the Democratic Party doesn't have the same kind of monopolized power. The Green New Deal, Medicare for All, Ranked Choice Voting, and Citizens United, my top four. Yeah, nothing wrong with any of these. What is it? Not not policy proposition. Well, they are policy propositions, platform. But the damn Green Party, which I've mostly voted for, just refuses to work on building anything. Yeah, all they do is fight for the presidency, right? I have never seen. Granted, I've only been to Florida. I've only lived in Florida up until recently. I've never seen them. I've never seen them put candidates for any offices in my local or even state. Yeah. Some candidates run for other positions, but few, they don't seem to get much party support. That's pretty sad. We're listening to a Florida man. Yes, a former Florida man. Green Party is just a D-tier campaign consultant / fund. Anyways, that's my thoughts on how to break the two-party system. You have to fight. You have to fight. State by state to get some kind of ranked choice voting system going on, which can be done with ballot initiatives. That can be done. There is a process that you can do to make that happen. That's where I would start. Even in the DNC down ballot, candidates generally don't get support. I mean, Libertarian, Green, and other get votes, but not 3 million popular votes. No, in terms of like the general election. No, the third parties don't really get that much votes. An narrowly divided Supreme Court on Monday, today, sided with the Biden administration in a tense dispute over the Texas-Mexico border and razor wire fencing installed by the state that had prohibited federal border agents from performing their duties. The court, by a vote of 5-4, cleared the way for federal agents to remove the wire, which the administration officials and immigration advocates have called dangerous and inhumane. Well, because they are. Because they are. I will also accept legalize all plants, nationalize petroleum, nationalize the energy sector. The Department of Homeland Security has also argued that the state's activities interfere with federal supremacy in setting border enforcement policy. The Supreme Court's order did not elaborate on the decision. It means federal border agents can resume full control of the contested border area while litigation continues. Justice Clarence Thomas, Yami Alito, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh said they would have denied the administration's request to lift the lower court injunction that was blocking the removal of the wire. The razor wire fencing was installed around the Rio Grande River by Texas authorities as part of Operation Lone Star, an effort launched by Republican Governor Abbott in 2021 to curb illegal immigration. The state sued the administration in October of 2023 over what they called the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol's practice of cutting, destroying, or otherwise damaging Texas concertina wire that had been strategically positioned for the purpose of letting people drown and or hurt them. I mean, securing the border. In November, a federal judge ruled that Texas hadn't provided enough evidence that the federal government broke the law in removing the razor wire, but was critical of the Biden administration's execution of immigration policy. The immigration system at the heart of it all, dysfunctional and flawed as it is, would work properly if implemented. Instead, the status quo, like if that's the case, if you think that there is a problem here with the immigration system, if there is a problem with the immigration system, is that we don't have a good infrastructure. We don't have, we have people with legitimate asylum claims waiting for years. But Republicans aren't going to Republicans don't want to fix any of that. It's just xenophobia. Instead, the status quo It's a mixture of political rancor, ego, and economic and geopolitical realities that serve no one, so the district judge Alia Moses wrote in the order. So destructive is its nature, and the nation cannot help but be transfixed by, but simultaneously unable to correct the present condition. What follows here is but another chapter in this unfolding tragedy. The law may be on the side of the defendants and compel a resolution in their favor today, but it does not excuse their culpable and duplicitous conduct. The decision was immediately appealed by Abbott. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals then ruled in the state's favor, saying that the lower court legally erred with respect to sovereign immunity and said that the wire could only be cut in the event of a medical emergency. You mean like the medical emergency of the woman and, what is it, 2 kids? And its appeal to the Supreme Court, the Biden administration argued that if accepted, the court's rationale would leave the U.S. at the mercy of the states that could seek to force the federal government to conform the implementation of federal immigration law to varying state law regimes. Biden officials said it would have a serious on-the-ground consequence, like preventing federal agents from being able to access the area they're charged with patrolling and their ability to quickly respond to emergency situations. Balanced against the impairment of federal law enforcement and risk to human life, the Court of Appeals cited as Texas harm only the price of wire and the cost of closing a gap created by Border Patrol agents. The administration said, look at this. Look at this. The case is one of many ongoing disputes between the Biden administration and Texas when it comes to the southwest border and immigration policy. The Department of Homeland Security recently threatened to take action against the state for allegedly blocking Custom and Border Protection access to the Shelby Park area and Eagle Pass. DHS accused Texas of refusing to access the border on January 12th when a group of immigrants were attempting to cross the border and 3 individuals drowned. The Texas Military Department responded that the claims they blocked access to federal agents were woefully inaccurate. I'm going to press X to doubt. Why don't we put a razor wire around the schools to keep them safe? You know, my school back in the day, very long time ago, a very, 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 very long time ago, used to have on the outside, not razor wire, but it used to have, like the long fences. They used to have like spiked, like curved spikes this way, or facing outward. You know, like prisons. A maze. Yeah. Schools these days are prisons with chain link fence. And these people claim to be pro-life. Yeah. There's nothing pro-life about them. At the time that Border Patrol's requested access, the drowning had already occurred. Mexican authorities were recovering the bodies, and Border Patrol expressed these facts to the Texas Military Department personnel on site. Yeah, except you get to watch TV in prison. Faculty strike aims to shut down 23 campus California State University. A strike by the faculty union in California State University disrupted classes on Monday at the largest system of higher education in the U.S., the latest effort by academic workers to leverage the power of organized labor to push for higher wages and benefits. The 5-day walkout started as the majority of students at CSU's 23 campuses returned for the first day of semester. Professors who were seeking a 12% raise canceled classes in droves and marched picket lines, some in the heavy rain. Quote, "We're hoping that this is a moment of visibility, of showing how committed we are and how much we need that 12% raise," said Emily Bukowski, a CSU Sacramento geography lecturer and union leader. The union represents about 29,000 professors, librarians, and other staff, making its strike the largest by faculty in U.S. history. A December 2022 walkout at the University of California, a sister system of higher education, included student workers and researchers that was nearly twice the size. This is also the first time California Faculty Association has staged a system-wide strike since its founding in 1983. It follows rolling strikes at 4 campuses last month amid stalled negotiations at with CSU. The university has already provided a pay increase of 5% in a contract that ends this year. In addition to the 12% raise, union wants to increase parental leave and more gender-neutral bathrooms and lactation rooms. The two sides haven't had a bargaining session since January 9th, and no further negotiations are scheduled. CSU's management wants to maintain the status quo, which is not working for the vast majority of our faculty, students, and staff, said the CFA Vice President of Racial and Social Justice, Chris Cox, said in a statement. In order for us to have a properly functioning system in years to come, we need to improve the working conditions for faculty and learning conditions for students. The work stoppage builds onto an organizing drive by CSU student assistants and a nationwide of graduate student unionization that recently spread to the University of Southern California. University administrators contend that many of the union's non-economic demands should not be subject to bargaining, and the system can't afford the salary request. Quote, as a new chancellor 4 months into the job, I have no interest in a strike, said the CSU chancellor Mildred Garcia told reporters on Friday, but we must work within our financial realities. Just waiting for the breaking news article. Activist SCOTUS helps the communist Biden administration keep the border open and allow more criminal, terrorist, gang-affiliated, illegal, undocumented invaders into the country to come and hunt your family down. Yeah. And people, the conservatives are already angry about this, by the way. So, yeah. I wish Biden was the way the right imagined him to. Imagined him to be, yeah. The CSU avoided an even larger disruption by reaching a tentative deal on Friday with 1,100 Teamsters who had also planned to join the strike. University officials were working Monday to keep campuses open, with cafeterias, counseling offices, and other services still running. It's unclear how many professors canceled class. The union previously said 95% of its members voted to authorize a strike, but it has declined to say how many people participated in the vote. University leaders have attempted to track cancellation by students, having reporting them online, though at least a few sympathetic students have flooded the forums with gag responses in an attempt to foil the efforts. I support them 100%, said CSU Sacramento senior Sean Harris, who drove 45 minutes to campus to find picketeers outside the campus. They deserve the same rights that every other working professional has, and if they feel they're being paid unfairly, then they should not give their labor. CSU previously offered a 15% salary increase to the faculty over 3 years, though the future year raises would have been contingent on funding increase from the state, which are now in jeopardy amid a $38 billion budget deficit. The faculty had rejected the offer. CFA's contract runs only through the end of the academic year. The university plans to begin negotiating the faculty's next contract later this semester. Right on. I hope they do get the raise. Teachers and professors need a massive raise. Educators need a massive raise. Yeah, see, Conscious Canuck, look. Not even 5 seconds, okay? Not even 5 seconds, and this is the kind of stuff that's popping up already. From Ron DeSantis. Meatball Ron. Ron DeSanctimonious. The Supreme Court is siding with the Biden administration against Texas by allowing the federal government to take down razor wire on the border. Texas is trying to enforce our laws and uphold our sovereignty, while the federal government is disregarding the law and ignoring its responsibility to protect the borders. Yeah, it's not Texas's responsibility. The federal government, is in charge of this. So no, it's not. It's not. Texas doesn't need to be involved in this. Great drag name, Rhonda Sanctimonious. Yeah. So that didn't take long. That did not take long. How long ago was this? 3:45? Maybe, what, 4 hours ago? No, 3 hours ago? I can't count. We'll just say about 3.5 hours ago. Yeah, that was fast. Help me, Rhonda. Folks, it's time for me to go get dinner. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for the support. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for the massive support with all the subs and gifted subs and biddies and all of this awesome stuff. Be well. Thank you. I appreciate it, Memo. Thank you. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you, Yella King. Thank you to all who participated in the hype train. So thank you, Yella King, for the tier 1 sub. Cheeseburger. Freedom Eagle for the 6 10, I can't even count, gifted subs. Alio with the biddies, Heat with the biddies, 6 gifted subs, 100 biddies. Minnesota Girl also with just 100 biddies. The Ponder Monkey with a tier 1 sub as well. Just massive support today. Thank you. Thank you. Turning out the subs this day. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yes, Minnesota Girl, absolutely. 100 biddies. Just massive support today. Thank you, guys. Before I go, make sure you hit the follow button if you haven't done so. It really does help us out. Spread the word. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Also, join, the YouTube, subscribe, and like the stream, do all that awesome stuff. It really does help us out, okay? Spread the word. We're here Monday through Thursday, so bring a friend. Join us on the Discord. Join us on the Discord this upcoming Saturday. So that's in a few days. We will have the usual end of month movie. And yeah, if you want to join, it's completely free. Just head on over, mosey on over. You don't even have to join the movie night, but you can use the Discord as a way of keeping up with the channel as well. Yes, the merch store. Check out the merch store if you need some cool stuff. There's a bunch of neat stuff there. I think that my favorite stuff, which I still have, well, it's not visible here. I don't know how I can get everything, but there's a couple of things here. The coffee mug. The coffee mug by far is one of my favorites, besides like the hoodies. And hats. I got one over here. But yeah, if you need some stuff and you want to represent, there's the merch store. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for keeping the chat chill. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Memo. Thank you, Alio. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Bipedal Meatbag. I appreciate it. Conscious Canuck. Minnesota Girl. Thank you. Alio. Thank you. Talos. Thank you for hanging out. The Simulacra. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Daria Bennett, thank you for hanging out in the chat. Let's see if I got everybody. Just to make sure. Firefly, Mouselander. Think I got everybody. Have a good one. You have a good one. Thank you. Declassified Crocs. Oh, man, I never answered that question. Can New Hampshire Democrats vote in the primary for Nikki Haley? I don't know. I don't know if it's an open primary. Girly Bear, I was lurking. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Mouselander, thank you. All right, folks. I have to mosey on out of here. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for the support. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. We all hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. See ya. No, they need to register independent by like September. Gotcha. It's not open, but independents can, and they're like 40%. Got it. Thank you, Cheeseburger. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Hang tight, everybody. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.